Sharks loss was definitely the most embarrassing loss this season and probably the worst Sharks game I've ever seen in my life. The Sharks today lost to the Nashville Predators at home by a final score of 8-0. And I mean, my expectations were low coming into this game. I mean, the Predators are a pretty decent team. The Sharks have practically no decent goalie right now. The newly acquired Alex Stalock that joined the team not too long ago was starting in net, and boy, did he do terrible. He was 22 of 28 on saves, and Zachary Sawchenko came in later in the game. He didn't do very good either. Both of them finished in the 700 range for save percentage, so it was very much a bad game for both of them. Stalock was 22 of 28, allowing 6 goals, and terrible performance for the Sharks tonight. Not even scoring, it was just embarrassing loss, 8-0. I mean, that is just a huge blowout. For the Predators, they had all sorts of scoring. It's funny, they had 3 different goal scorers that had 2 goals. They had Mick Karen have 2 goals. Matt Luff had 2 goals. Matt Duchene had 2 goals. And then in terms of players that had 1 goal, Mikhail Granlund had a goal, and Jakub Trenin had a goal. And in this game, Roman Josi had 4 assists, which is crazy. He assisted on half the goals. And McCarron had also had 4 points with 2 assists and the 2 goals he got. For the Sharks, no goals, of course. I mean, they were terrible in this game. They had 20 shots, and Jussi Saros saved all 20 of them. And I mean, the Sharks, yeah, they've got serious problems. It's mostly the defense and the goaltending. And I mean, when you don't have Reimer, you're not going to play good automatically. I did have a little bit of expectations for Stalock, though, because, I mean, it was his first start in 2 years, so I wasn't expecting, a win at all by any means. But I wasn't expecting this bad of a defeat for the Sharks to endure. And I mean, they barely got shots. I mean, the player with the most shots for the Sharks was Timo Meier. He had 4, but besides that, most guys only had 1 or 2 shots. Sawchenko, like I said, didn't do good either. He was 6 of 8, so he allowed the final 2 goals that the Sharks got. And I mean, it was the first start in 2 years for Stalock, so I guess you can't put all of the blame on him, but in the same sense, though, 8 goals, it's embarrassing. I mean, he allowed 6 of them. The Predators, they're not a terrible team. They have 64 points right now, so they're not a bad team by any means. They're a pretty good team, actually. I definitely think, I wasn't expecting any sort of win, but in the same sense, I wasn't expecting this bad of a loss. The Sharks still remain in 7th place, and they're probably going to remain in 7th place for the foreseeable future because we're 15 points ahead of the Kraken, but we're 7 points back of the Ducks. So there's a lot of disparity between us, who's behind us and who's ahead of us. But they're just not playing good at all. They're going to play the Ducks in the next game, which will be a back-to-back. It'll be tomorrow. So we have, an interesting Pacific Division schedule coming up with the Kings following that. But terrible loss for the Sharks. Probably the worst performance I've seen ever for a Sharks game because 8-0. I mean, you got to at least put some goals on the board. And the fact that, they were just allowing, and I mean, yeah, our first 2 goalies are injured, but in the same sense, I think we still got to play better on defense. I think the defense is a big reason why some of these goals were happening. I mean, Stalock and the other guys, Sawchenko, they were not playing good in net, but in the same sense, the defense is what provides security for the goalie. After this one, the Sharks moved to 24, 25, and 6. Nashville moves to 31, 20, and 4. I mean, Nashville's not bad. They're sort of in the middle of their division, but, if they were in the Pacific, they'd be higher up. So they're not a bad team at all. I wasn't expecting a win, like I said, but I also wasn't expecting this. Very much a poor performance for the Sharks, and their losing continues. I mean, it's just playing bad. That's the big issue. It's hard to explain what they need to do to overcome it, but a lot of things need to change. So anyways, guys, let me know your thoughts, and it sucks they lost, but who thought they would win this one? So let me know your thoughts. I'll see you guys later, and yeah, go Sharks.